couple of days ago, there was some hullabaloo that occurred. I did not speak about it, and then yesterday was my day off, so now I'm going to talk about it. I'm a little late, but hey, whatever. There was some hullabaloo, and also some Tyler too, but we'll get to that later. And so the White House, it's a house that exists, and it's white, decided to weigh in on Marianne Williamson. Now, everyone knows, I'm sure you've seen this clip by now, because it is pretty funny. This whole exchange is just, it's juvenile. It's hilarious. But the White House has weighed in on Marianne Williamson, and I want to talk about it because the whole situation is pretty funny. But let me recap real quick my position on the Marianne Williamson 2024 campaign. I am an anybody but Biden voter. That is my position on the 2024 Democratic primary. I will vote for anybody but Joe Biden. I'm a never Biden voter. So let's imagine a scenario where Bernie Sanders hops in the race. I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. I'm going to vote for whoever is the furthest left that has a chance of winning. And so, now, does that mean I love Marianne Williamson? No. I think she's a good candidate. I think she's a decent person. I think she has a great platform. Is it amazing? Is it fantastic? Is it as good as Bernie 2020? No. But it's a good campaign, and she also happens to not be named Joe Biden. Now, so I'm going to vote for her unless situations radically change. That's my bias. I'm getting my bias out there to begin with. But I've seen a lot of people talk about this clip here, and they're like taking it way too seriously. Now, again, maybe I just take things a little, maybe I'm just more jokey. Maybe I'm just a little bit more silly than most people. But hey, I personally think that this clip is hilarious. Now, we're going to get to Marianne's response as well. Okay? Marianne responded, and I think her response is pretty good. But let's be honest, okay? Now, I know people, they're doing these, like, machinations, ooh, look at me. I'm trying to fight the culture war. I'm going to win, right? Like, I consider myself divorced from that whole thing, so I'm just having fun here. But this is the White House responding to Marianne Williamson in a roundabout way.
Is the president
I gotta raise the fucking volume here.
Annoyed, frustrated with Marianne Williamson for jumping in the race ahead of him? Did he want a clear field to run against the Republican nominee in 2024?
Just not tracking that. I mean, if I had a what is it called? A little globe here, crystal ball, then I can tell you. But I imagine 8-ball, whatever. If I can feel her aura, I just don't have anything. I just don't have anything to share on that.
So anyway, that one guy in the background was having a great time. So okay, I've already watched this clip. When I first watched it, I did laugh. It's not funny enough to laugh at a second watch. I'm just being honest with you, but it is pretty funny. But let's be honest here, right? Let's be honest. I'm not gonna lie. The idea that the White House is gonna make fun of someone for being a little woo-woo spiritual when the President of the United States is a Catholic, I mean, I'm sorry, I just don't take it seriously, right? The President of the United States literally drinks the blood, or at least in his fucking fantasy world, drinks the blood of Christ. This motherfucker is like, he thinks that the Pope is like some crazy ass, like, communicator from God and some shit. He believes that like Jesus like came back as a zombie. I mean, this is what the President of the United States believes, okay? So I'm just being honest. The idea that you're going to insult Marianne Williamson's secular spirituality when the President believes in Jesus and Holy Spirits, right? Motherfucker believes in Holy Spirits. Like at least Marianne Williamson, to my understanding, does not believe that there's a Holy Ghost following her around telling her that she's going to save the day. To my understanding. Now, maybe she does believe in that. I don't know, but I've not seen any of that. So, I'm just throwing that out there. I think that's hilarious. But also, I think it's just really funny that the White House, like, just decides to make jokes about this kind of stuff when, again, technically, hey, the president hasn't even announced he's running yet. if you wanted to announce you were running to shore up the primary, as of this moment, anybody but Biden voter or not, the only person on the ballot, Marianne Williamson. So I'm just throwing that out there. But Marianne responded, and let's talk about this response here. She posted a tweet that says, "They might think it's a joke, but there is nothing amusing about people going bankrupt from medical debt or children going to bed hungry." So, I also want to say this, that I did see that Bernie Sanders has made a statement about the Marianne Williamson campaign. Basically, Bernie is splitting the middle. Bernie is saying she's going to run a great campaign, and he also reiterated he's going to support Biden if Biden runs again right now. But again, let's be honest here. Elephant in the room. Marianne has a next to 0% chance of winning. Now, again, I have no personal issue whatsoever doing positive propaganda for a primary challenger against Joe Biden. I've been saying on my show since Super Tuesday in 2020, I've been saying if Joe Biden wins, we got to primary this motherfucker, no questions asked. So again, I have no problem in the world. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Marianne Williamson is the perfect candidate. I'll criticize her if I need to, but she is clearly a much better candidate than Joe Biden. And again, the only way you would disagree with that is if you got like this weird brain rot where you think that like Joe Biden must be defended at all costs because he's going to run again. And then if he doesn't want to be weakened for the, like, and I'm sorry, man, but like we live in a whole new world. We can't apply the fucking like 1970, 1980, 1960 fucking playbook on this. This is a whole new fucking world here. So I'm just saying, is it even possible that Marianne could win? I think so. Now, again, I don't think it's going to be very likely. I think it's maybe a 0 or 1% chance. But again, I'm just giving all my biases on the table. People know where I stand. But this is Marianne Williamson's response to this. Let's watch. I personally think it's pretty decent, but, you know, let's watch it first and I'll tell you what I would do better.
I was so sad.
Oh, God, the volume is so low. Jesus Christ. I am so sad with this fucking volume level. Let's hold up. Oh, whoops.
I was so sad to see the commentary of the president's press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, about me, about crystal balls, which I've never spoken or written about, and auras, which I've never spoken or written about, and just speaking so derisively and in such mocking terms about someone who is running for president of the United States. And as a woman.
So, okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. The first 20 seconds of this, L. Hey, I'm just saying this. I support Marianne. I'm being honest with you. The first 20 seconds of this is an L, right? The idea that people can't mock someone running for president, I'm going to be honest, I don't believe in that. The idea that I can't mock a woman running for president, I mean, Nikki Haley announced she's running for the presidency on the Republican side. I simply don't agree. I'm going to mock the fucking shit out of Nikki Haley. I'm sorry. But again, I know she's playing this like above it all card, which, hey, as the proprietor of the Above It All podcast show, I'll let her have it. I'm just saying, I'm just saying so far, I don't really agree, but I understand what she's trying to do, and I understand what the goal of this statement is. So let's just keep going.
And this is the Democratic Party. I have a constitutional right to run, and my candidacy is about substantive issues and policies. I have made it clear in interview after interview that the president is a nice man, and that I...
So, okay, now I just want to say this. Audience retention is everything. 90% of people that have clicked on this video have already clicked it off. Let's just be honest, okay? I'm just being honest, okay? Now, I say this as someone who wants to support Marianne Williamson. I do not want Joe Biden to be the nominee. I don't want him to be president. I don't fucking like Joe Biden, okay? I think he's garbage. Personally, on a personal level, I think he's garbage. And on a policy level, I think he's garbage. But I understand what she's trying to do here. I just disagree with it. By 37-second mark, you can't just say, my campaign is about policy and then keep going about the personal stuff. Like, now again, her tweet, right? The tweet, she kind of fixes this in the tweet where she primes people with some issues, and that's good. But my criticism is that if this were a Bernie speech, right? Bernie in the first 5 to 10 seconds would be talking about Medicare for all, would be talking about climate change, would be talking about, trans rights, would be talking about, stopping the fucking wall construction that Joe Biden is working on, right? So I'm just saying, that's what, like, if this were a Bernie speech, and again, Bernie was the last progressive presidential challenger, right? So she's going to have to deal with the Bernie comparisons. My opinion, this is a strategy that I respect, that she's going for a certain strategy. This ain't it. That's my opinion. It's not it, okay? And you can also keep the above it all attitude, like the genuine, like, I'm above the fray, I'm not going to take pot shots at the president, right? You can maintain that attitude, but just being a little bit faster speaking, a little bit more aggressive with what policies you propose, right? That's my constructive feedback for someone that will never watch my video, but let's keep going.
I have no interest in taking personal pot shots. But apparently the White House, or at least as expressed by Karine, doesn't share my commitment to the high ground. The hypocrisy here is something that all of us can see.
So again, this is not what I would do if I were running for president, which, by the way, I'd like to announce that I am running for president, even though I am not 35 years old, because if Donald Trump can run for president as an insurrectionist, and if you're an insurrectionist, you are banned under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. If you're an insurrectionist, you are banned. You're not allowed to run for president. So the Constitution doesn't apply to Donald Trump. Therefore, if the Constitution says you have to be 35 to run for president, I'm 26, right? I'll be 28 by the time of the 2024 election. So, hey, I say, if the Constitution doesn't apply to Trump, it doesn't apply to me. So I'd like to announce I am running for president too. Hey, maybe I'll announce as a Republican contender, right? Just to give Marianne the space, right? But anyway, let's keep going.
Because the president has said on his first day in office that anyone in his administration who spoke disrespectfully about anyone would be fired on the spot.
So now, as much as I enjoy that little bit of hypocrisy, my opinion is that's not something you should put in your campaign statement. That's something you should have people in the media talk about. Like, I have no problem talking about that. I think it's really funny that Joe Biden is like, anyone will get fired on the spot if they're disrespectful, right? I just think that's funny. I think it's a fun point of hypocrisy. But again, 1 minute into this response, and we have yet to actually discuss a single substantive issue. So again, but also, it is important to note that she did kind of prime us with the tweet text as well. So we are primed to have substantive issues on the mind when watching this video, but still I feel like she should be a little bit more clear about that, because this is theoretically a moment where she can get a lot of press. So
Now, I'm not hoping that Karine Jean-Pierre loses her job over this, but I do hope that from now on, this low, derisive, this narrative about me, just obviously meant to get me out of the conversation. I hope that this path is not pursued. It's not good for any of us. It's not good for America. It's not good for the Democratic Party. People are watching. And I hope that everyone who is watching realizes this is not just about me. They're not just telling me to...
So 90 seconds in, and she is saying what Bernie would have said in the first 15 seconds. So again, I say this as constructive feedback, right? Out of all the people that are running for president, this is the one that is as close as possible to my perspective. As of this moment, I am de facto a Marianne voter, and so I want her to do better, right? And this is not going to cut it. So now I understand, right? I understand the main maintenance of the, we're not going to take pot shots thing, right? That's why you would want to do what Bernie would do and focus on what issues your campaign supports. Say, I'm sad to see that the president is, I'm sad to see that the White House, blah, 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 is saying this fucking stuff. Maybe you can stop, you don't have to say fucking in your statement. But I think it's not funny because my campaign is focused around this, that, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you can even make that, I'm just, But my point is 90 seconds and we're getting into like the kind of populist thing. That's too long. 90% of people, 95% of people have already clicked away from this. Let's be honest, okay?
Get away, like flicker off like a mosquito. It's about you. It's about anyone who, first of all, I think, has faith and takes faith seriously? Or is it just about any woman who speaks out of turn?
So again, the faith thing I think is funny. The woman who speaks out of turn thing, I don't think that that's really going to land. I also don't really I don't know. I don't really get it, but let's keep going. Let's finish
I don't know. That's for you to decide. But whichever it is, I hope that we will stop that kind of nonsense. It's not good for any of us. Thanks.
So anyway, again, I'm going to be honest, a solid maybe 4 out of 10 on this one, okay? And again, the White House, they gave you a golden ticket, right? This video right here is a golden ticket for press, okay? And I don't think that Marianne's response is going to be the best way to take advantage of that press, right? That's my opinion. Whatever. But again, it is hilarious that the president of the United fucking States is a freak show Catholic, right? Someone that literally believes that some guy 2,000 years ago was murdered, right? And crucified, and then like came back like a zombie from Evil Dead or some fucking shit. And like that's crazy. That is objectively insane. Joe Biden either has schizophrenia or knows it's all bullshit, but is just lying about believing it because most Americans are dumb enough to believe in that stupid shit too, right? Those are the only two options that I can see. And so the idea that that's the situation, the White House is going to mock someone who is a little secular spiritual. I'm secular spiritual. I'm probably more spiritual than Marianne Williamson. I'm also an atheist. I don't believe in God. I don't believe that there could be a God. And even if there was a creator, I wouldn't submit to a creator and I wouldn't call them God. So I don't even believe in the concept of God. But I'm still spiritual. I believe in human spirituality. I believe that we're all connected. I believe in all that kind of good stuff, right? That doesn't, like, I don't know, man. That's not even faith. That's not even faith. That's just following the science, right? As far as I'm concerned. That's a sidebar. I just think it's funny. This whole situation is hilarious. And again, I think Marianne's response is okay. Solid 4 out of 10, okay? But I really think she needs to focus on the issues. She needs to highlight what her campaign is about. Make it, yes, the White House made a personal attack against you, right? You should have been able to get away from the personal attack in the first 10 to 15 seconds and then pivot to all issues. That's my opinion. That's what I would have done, and that's what I hope Marianne does in the future. But either way, pretty funny whole scenario. And there's my commentary. That's what I got.